We're here today to discuss where I share something in common with every individual up here. We are all alumnus of Pan American. Whether it be in its infancy, whether it be a recent graduate, we have a story to tell. And each one of these individuals up here is going to talk a little bit about their career life, their home life, some of the tribulations, some of the problems and issues they had getting to where they are today, a little bit about how they financed their education, some of the hardships, some of the ridicules, some of the successes. So bear with us, we have a story to tell. I'll let each one of the individuals present themselves, where their hometown is, what their major is, what their current title is, and the name of the company that they work for. So at this time, we'll open our session.
Good afternoon. My name is Ana Ramirez Monk, and I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm an educator. I've been in education for about 16 years. I graduated from Pan American a long time ago, and because Renee said the year, I graduated in '76. And I'm originally from Brownsville. And I went ahead and I started as a classroom teacher. Presently what I'm doing is I'm a personnel recruiter for a school district in Houston. It's Spring Branch Independent School District. And I go out and I travel and I get to visit with interesting graduates like yourselves who are probably getting ready to graduate and make decisions about what you're going to do and where you're going to do it. And I find that very, very exciting because I get to see the spark in everybody's eyes, and it's very, very thrilling because at one time I was doing the same type of things that you all are doing, kind of figuring out, what am I going to do and where am I going to work. Probably what I just want to tell you in just a few minutes is that one of the things that I learned when I was little was that I didn't really learn confidence. My parents were much, much older than your regular parents. I was what I call a menopause baby, and my parents were up in years, and it was always, you must do good, you should do good. And when I did do good, it wasn't, good job, I'm so proud of you. I never really got that. It was just kind of understood. So as a result, I'm not really sure that I ever gained the confidence that I should have gained as a child and as I was growing up. And that was probably one of the things that was hardest for me, was that whenever I attempted to go out and get a job and interview, I'm not sure that in the very, very beginning I believed in myself. And, I think that's the one thing that I want to tell you. It's so important for you to believe in yourself and to know that you can do a good job and that you are your own advocate, because if you don't believe that, you're not going to project it. And anybody that you interview with, they're going to be able to pick that up. So, and I feel pretty good about myself now. I think through years and experience, you learn that, I can do it. I can do anything that I just set myself out to go ahead and do. So that is probably the one thing that I ask all of you, to just believe in yourself, prepare for whatever you're getting ready to go ahead and do, and you can do anything as long as you just believe in yourself.
My name is Monique Ramirez, and I just recently graduated from UTPA in May 1991. Excuse me. I had started a long time ago when I graduated from high school. I started and I went 1 year to college. Unfortunately, things didn't turn my way, and I had to drop out. I was out of school for about 5-6 years. But in that time, I was able to learn and figure out what I really wanted. And I wanted something more than just an office job. I went ahead, I quit my job, and I just started school. I applied for all the assistance that was available here. I made myself informed on everything that financial aid had to offer, and I started going full-time. I'm also a single mom, so in the process of coming to school, I had to raise my daughter and make sure that she went through the, I helped raise her and get everything that she needed and what have you. I got recruited from campus by Kraft General Foods, and I was fortunate in that I had work study. Through work study, I was able to meet a lot of people here on campus, both in the business building and around campus. It was very valuable to me to have found out about the placement office and take advantage of everything they had. Like Anna was saying, it is true, you do have to believe in yourself. A lot of people do not believe I could go back to school and I could make something of myself. And I'm not talking about my family, I'm talking about my friends. They didn't think I had it in me. Once I graduated, they didn't think I'd get a job. They didn't think I'd leave the Valley. I mean, it's like, why are you going to leave the Valley? Who are you going to depend on? You don't know anybody out there. Well, that's true. But I know me, I know what I want, and I know where I want to go. And that held me through the 3 years that it took me to go to school and get the job. And I still have that belief. I know where I want to go. And sometimes people say, well, it's so difficult. Are you sure you like it out there? Well, I do like it out there. When I first moved to Houston, I was very scared. And I didn't know anybody. I had no one to take care of my child, nothing like that. I was used to the fact that the majority of the population was Hispanic. I wasn't around other races as much. In Houston, it was a culture shock to see so many people and to realize that these opinions I had formed here just by what other people had told me. I had to retrain myself, be more open-minded in order if I wanted to succeed both there and both in my job. And I had to train that to my daughter because I don't want her to become close-minded either. So I had to adjust in order for her to see that I was adjusting. She would adjust just as well, if not better. And it has worked out very well for both of us. We both have adjusted to that life, and we've learned. And when I come back and I visit, I appreciate so much how I was brought up here in the Valley. I appreciate the values that were instilled in me and the things that were around me that I never had the time to look because I just was, I wanted to leave. I didn't think there was nothing here. There is so much here. But it's nice to come back in retrospect because out there's so much more. I mean, it's just unbelievable, the things that you find in a big city, the places to go, people to meet, things to see. I mean, there's so much learning. It's just, you continually learn about a lot of other things that you would not learn down here. You would not have the opportunity to experience as you would in a big city or somewhere else outside of the Valley.
Hi, my name is Liz Ortega, and I graduated from Pan American, or UT Pan American, in December 1988. I am an accountant for Mobil Oil in Dallas, and I have been there for 3.5 years. What I do is I basically do the accounting for any purchases or sales that we make from Mobil and other companies. Basically, what I wanted to go over with you is I got recruited by Mobil from the placement office, and I'd like to emphasize for everyone to use the placement office. It's very useful. It brings in a lot of companies, and you're able to select from different companies that you want to go ahead and interview with. I would emphasize that you also learn about the company that you're going to interview with and learn about what they have to offer. We had an earlier session this morning that talked about your benefits, what you want from that company, what you expect, and I emphasize that you learn about the company you're interviewing with, learn about their benefits, learn what they have to offer you, because it's very important, because once you start there, their benefits are part of the reason you go there. It's not just their salary, where they're located, what but it's also their benefits. What can they give you to make life better for you, especially once you're married and have children? Flex time. I work for a corporation that we have flex time. We're able to go in as early as 6:30 in the morning and as late as 8:30 in the morning and leave at 3:15 and or as leave if you go in at 8:30, of course you're going to probably leave at 5:30. But you have that option of having the flex time, which is very convenient for especially mothers or fathers who want to leave early and come in early so they can go pick up their children or go see their son at a football game or a basketball game. All those things are very important for you. And I don't have any children right now, but I do know a lot of friends that have children that's one of the things they enjoy the most. They do talk about having daycare there. We don't have it right now, but all those benefits are very important. I'd like to tell you a little bit of background. I come from Edinburgh, Texas. My family was raised here. My parents don't have a college education, but they have 6 children, and all five of the 6 children have graduated from Pan American University. I have sisters who are teachers. I have a brother who's an attorney, and my parents have always, no matter if they didn't go to college, they wanted us to go to college. They emphasized that once we graduated from high school, they were there for us to support us. We might have not had financially wealthy to go to any other college or anything, but Pan American had a good business degree. We wanted to come here, and they had a lot of things to offer for us. So it was convenient. It was a good school. It had a good degree. They had recruiters coming in, and I like to emphasize that the corporation that I work for has always been very pleased with the employees that they get. We have employees that have come from Pan American that are now supervisors that have been there for 15 years, and they come down and recruit students, and they've always told me that Mobile has always said that the employees they get from Pan American are always dedicated, hardworking employees, and they're very pleased, and they love to come here and get their employees. Just, know what you want to do with your life, and because maybe by right now you haven't decided exactly what you want, doesn't mean, that you have to decide by tomorrow or the next couple of days, but take your time in deciding what you want, make sure that's what you want, and make sure that the job that you have is something that you want and enjoy, and the benefits are good, and not just, like I said, salary is not the only thing that's important, but all the other benefits, or just how they treat you, how they respect you. Also coming from a Hispanic race, of course in Dallas you see mostly white people, and at first you would go in there, and I have friends now that say, gosh, I wish I knew 2 languages, and they really like that about you. They want to know. I have friends that come up to me and say, how do you say this word in Spanish? I mean, they really want to know, and they say they want to know another language, and Spanish is something that in the United States is what you use. It's a second largest language, so it's very important that you learn that and you keep that with you, and as you go, it's going to be a tool for you. It really is, and people are going to look for you and want to know if they need to talk to somebody that's only Spanish speaking. We have owners, of course, who get paid royalty, and I have not worked in the department before, but I have friends that are Hispanic that need to work there because, well, not need to work there, but work there because they speak Spanish, and they have royalty owners who call that that can only speak Spanish, and that's something that's a tool they've been able to use during that time. So make use of your language and learn it and keep it with you, and always keep up with it, because I know once you go and you move somewhere else and all you do is talk English, you turn sometimes to forget these things. But always think of it as a tool and not as, well, I'm not going to talk this way because someone's really going to think I'm strange or anything. But that's not the way it is. People really think that it's really good for you. So that's really all I have to say. Okay.
My name is Rosie Olivarez, and I'm a December 91 graduate of UTPA. My degree is in social work, and I happen to have what you would call a non-traditional career. I work for the Girl Scouts. Now, I know a lot of people think Girl Scouts, volunteers, cookies, a certain elite group. Well, the Girl Scouts happen to have over 365 councils nationwide, in Hawaii, Alaska, Puerto Rico. They also happen to have Girl Scout councils in Europe. And I was very fortunate to be at Career Day in in March, where I happened to have met with a national representative, and she was looking for minority people to fill in what they would call. Unfortunately, in Girl Scouts, there's not very much minorities in the program, and so they're recruiting minorities. I was one of the 4 selected, and we were taken to Manhattan. It's wonderful there for a week's training, and then we were sent to our internship site. Mine was in Las Vegas, and I'm happy to say that after 10 weeks of working there, I was hired as a camp administrator. They provided me with a car for the 3 months, an apartment, and a stipend of $300 a week to take care of me. It was wonderful the whole time I was there. I went back to New York for a debriefing and met with the national officers there, and I just discussed what had happened, what I learned there with the Girl Scouts, and I told them that I was hired. So I just moved there about 2 weeks ago, and then I was invited to come here and speak, and I think it's an honor and a privilege to be able to come and do that here. I was a student for about 6 years. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. I was going through education because my mom wanted me to be a teacher. Then I decided I wanted to be in law enforcement because I knew I wanted to help people, and I knew I wanted to help youth especially. And I thought, well, if I could develop a program, that would be wonderful. And then law enforcement wasn't what I wanted, and then social work was just perfect. So I went ahead and got into social work, and I earned a certification in nonprofit management, which they happen to, it's called American Humanics, and I believe it's still in process at this time. And it's a program where they teach you about nonprofit management, grant writing. We have an assortment of business people that are involved in the nonprofit world. And with those two education backgrounds, plus all the skills that I learned over the 6 years, everything from art to just everything in the world, it's going to come in handy because I'm designing and implementing a program working with girls from the ages of 5 to 17-year-olds. Doing programs for them, and the purpose of Girl Scouts is to empower women. So it's a wonderful program. I come from a first-generation college. We're first-generation college students in my family. There are 6 of us as well, and I'm originally from Mission, Texas. My mother and father used to work on the farms, and they used to have to pick cotton, and they were always telling me, one thing that we can do for you now is to provide you with your education, because that's something that no one could ever take away from you. And that was something they always stressed in us, and now I really see how important it was, and I'm so glad that it happened this way. I was very fortunate to really be involved in certain programs as well. I did a lot of volunteer work, which also comes in handy, and you also learn skills that way, which is wonderful. If there was something that I could tell you, I know that going to those career placements, those are absolutely wonderful. They're great avenues to go. And as a plug for the Girl Scouts, they will be there again this summer this March, looking for 10 applicants this year. And again, they're going nationwide searching, and she said that she was really impressed with Pan American. And so I know that she's coming back, or UTPA, and I know she's coming back. I think that's about it.
Good. My name is Hollis, Rutledge. And I'm a graduate from Pan American University in 1976 in political science area with a minor in speech. I'd like to thank Dirty Guajardo and Mr. Farias for giving me the opportunity to be back on campus. Dr. Ralph Schilling at that time, if I may say a little bit about a little history about my involvement at the university level. When he handed my degree, he said, "We have a policy in this institution that we graduate all presidents of student body." And so I'm glad that I'm giving you the degree, and I wish you well. I was very involved here in this institution as president of the student body, and very vocal, and those were good years and good memories. And I'm certainly pleased that the university has grown. And I've since moved to San Antonio and on to Dallas-Fort Worth. I had a large agency with the United States federal government. The name of it is the General Services Administration. It was created by Congress in 1949 after the Hoover Commission recommended to then President Harry Truman that we needed to get more bang for our tax dollar in the goods and services that all of the civilian agencies were buying out in the marketplace. It created the agency, and as a result, the General Services Administration, of which I am the regional administrator, is the business and procurement arm for the United States government. Located in Fort Worth, Texas, we have approximately anywhere fluctuates between 2,700 to 3,000 employees in my region. It encompasses an area from the Canadian border to the U.S.-Mexico border. We are the landlords for all of our federal agencies. We take care of federal government properties and dispose of federal government properties. We also plan and maintain all federal courthouses, and that includes federal judges and our U.S. congressmen and U.S. senators. We are also very involved in the telecommunications aspect of the government. There are 4 components, in essence, in our agency. The Public Building Service, of which I basically described to you, and the Information Resource Management Service, which is the entity or the division, if you will, of my agency that takes care of all of the telecommunications for our federal government. That is our computers, ADP, telecommunications, telephone systems, etc. The third component is the Federal Property Resource Service, which is the component that attempts to dispose of all federal lands once they're accessed by the various agencies throughout the country. And we also have another component called the Federal Supply Service. We have, under this umbrella, under this division, we buy everything under the sun for the federal family, the federal agencies. Everything from the automobiles that you see out in the street with a U.S. government license plate, those are vehicles that are purchased and maintained by our agency, the General Services Administration. What we do, we buy them in bulk and then assign them to the various federal agencies throughout the country. Among other things, is we procure everything from custodial services to nuts and bolts to carpet to leasing of private space for our federal family, because obviously we cannot have most of the federal family in federal government buildings. We wouldn't have it. We don't have enough in our inventory. So we do procure a lot of private office space. In a nutshell, we are very excited about recruiting. We're very excited about participating in these type of programs because the workforce is getting older, and we are constantly looking for good potential. And I'm glad to be here. We've been here several times over in a recruiting effort. I was talking to Durley Guajardo earlier. We do have a co-op agreement between Pan American, UT Pan American, and GSA. We've been able to hire several students from this institution within our agency. And we're looking for good quality career people that wish to choose as their career the federal government. I'm here to encourage you to really consider that. We hire everything from accountants to lawyers to architects to engineers to administrators, business management majors. So we have the whole gamut, including the police force that we have within the GSA. So we have a lot of professions within this agency, and I would hope that you would take advantage of looking at the opportunities that the federal government has to offer to you all. Certainly the requirements in terms of preparing is no different than from the private sector. Strong backgrounds in mathematics, in communication skills, in writing skills is essential. The Office of Personnel Management, which is really the entity within the federal system that tends to classify potential federal employees, is the entity that you might want to look at also for federal employment. OPM out of Dallas, and they do have an operation in San Antonio, and I'm sure that the counselors here at Pan American can help you with that. I graduated here, as I mentioned, in 1976. I was taking a full load in college. I was working at the camera department at Walgreens drugstores, then called Globe Shopping City in McAllen. I worked long hours, and on holidays I had the graveyard shift. But I'm particularly proud of the fact that I was able to graduate from this institution. It is an excellent institution, and I can't begin to tell you how much this institution has really meant to all of us in South Texas. And I'm glad to see a lot of you that here to take the initiative to educate yourselves. We have a tremendous dropout rate in this country, more specifically within the Hispanic American category. 34% dropout rate to be exact. The highest dropout rate of any group, cultural group in America. And I don't know what we can do about it, but I think that collectively the private sector and the educational institutions and yourselves can maybe tackle that problem, because as has been mentioned before, brain or a mind is very, very hard to waste. And we're hoping that through this program that you will be interested in the federal government, and I'll be more than glad to talk to you afterwards. And certainly Durley Guajardo would be able to give you some additional information as it relates to my agency, GSA, or any federal government employment opportunities. Thank you.
I have two names really. In the Valley, my name is Raul Elizondo. In Dallas, it's Raul Elizondo. And that's one of the realities of the workplace. You have to be able to be flexible to the environment. Another thing you have to be flexible about is when people write something about you, and in your packet it says that I graduated from Pan American College in 1960. If that's the case, I was 11 years old at the time. And so I'm either a Doogie Howser or I'm a politician running for Texas Railroad Commission. I'm neither. I graduated in 1969. I was born in Weslaco. I was the seventh of 9 children in my family. Most of which have gone on to college. I was like most of you, didn't know what I really wanted to do, but I had been exposed to a credit union during my college days. During my senior year, some credit union people came to interview. Some people that were recruiting for the Treasury Department for bank examiners also came to interview, and that really struck me as interesting, and I took that job. It became a stepping stone, which is what most people use the examining force for, stepping stone into the banking career. But let me give you a few key words, and then you'll see as to how they apply to what I've been able to accomplish. Opportunity, luck, hard work, and direction. after, as an examiner for the Treasury Department, I always volunteered for the toughest job. I always took the problem banks, the banks nobody else wanted to examine because management in the bank was always very antagonistic towards examiners, didn't want you there. You always had to work long, hard hours because you had to research things that nobody else could find, or was extremely difficult to find. If somebody commits a crime, they don't want you to find it. If somebody's stealing money from the bank, they're going to do their darndest to hide it. With limited time resources, we didn't just get additional extensions of time to stay in the bank. We just have to work later if you volunteered for that job. When I finally decided I had enough banking experience to go into the banking side of the bank, I did pretty much the same thing. Every time something else came up, I volunteered for it. I took on additional responsibility. At the first bank I was at, which was a part of a major holding company in Texas, the first opportunity I had was when the senior operations officer of the bank died. He had a heart attack. He was a young man, about 45 years old. He had a heart attack and he died. While the bank looked for somebody else to fill his position, I said, hey, I'll be responsible for his job for the next couple of months, even though I had a full-time job. It worked to my benefit. I ended up knowing not only about the lending side of the bank, which is what the examining business showed me. I learned about the operation side of the bank and about the financial side of the bank. When the president of our bank was terminated for not doing his job properly, they asked me. I didn't have to volunteer for that. They asked me if I would do it because there was nobody else that knew everything about the bank. At that point, you say, well, your career's over. I mean, you've already accomplished everything there is to accomplish. Well, now getting the job is the easy part. Doing it is the tough part. One thing that I have to tell you that I've never asked for is I've never asked for any money in anything I've done. Never asked for a raise. In fact, when they asked me, when the people in downtown Dallas called me up for breakfast and asked me if I wanted to be the chief executive officer of the bank, I said, yeah, I'll be glad to do it. And they said, I guess you figure you need a raise. And I said, no, I'd do it for a lot less than I'm getting now. And they looked at me and I said, well, I'd just like to have the opportunity to prove I can do it. If I can do the job, you're going to have to pay me whatever it's worth. You know, if you don't, somebody else will. You know, that's something we all ought to remember, because if you can do the job, you're going to get paid for it. So why worry about the first few months in the job as to whether you're getting what you think you deserve? Unfortunately, that's true about life. You always get what you deserve. That's right. Whether you want it or not.
Right.
But anyway, I mentioned opportunities, luck, hard work, and direction. Opportunity, yeah, doesn't matter whether you're Hispanic, you're a woman, you're short, you're an Anglo. You're going to get an opportunity. Doesn't matter why you get it. The only thing matters is what you do with it. Luck, we have to be lucky. I mean, you know, there is some luck. I was president of a major Dallas bank at the age of 33. Maybe without some good luck, it would have been 38 or 40 or whatever. But a guy died at the right time. Take it any way you can get it. The opportunity will be there. With a little luck, it'll be there a little bit sooner. But the idea is don't depend on luck. To a large extent, you can make your own luck. Hard work, do whatever it takes. Bank One, I think that's their motto. Whatever it takes. Unfortunately, I've had to give up vacations, a lot of hours at night. Even today, I work long hours. I don't know how many people, have learned how to use computers on their own. If you're not fully expert on computer, then you can't survive in today's business world. I would imagine there's not anybody in this room that knows more about computers than I do, and the company didn't pay for a penny of that. If you don't stay up, you got a problem. In fact, again, hard work. I knew that in order for me to have the best shot at getting the job I wanted, I had to have an additional educational degree. So working full-time in a very responsible position. During the day, I went to UT Arlington and got a master's degree. And had a decent GPA there too, a lot better than what it was here. Your luncheon speaker probably wouldn't like me to hear that, but my GPA was nothing to brag about here. And then direction. Don't let somebody else direct your career. You have to proactively decide what you want and make the moves that are going to get you exactly what you want. It's not going to happen by accident. You're the only one that can make it happen.
When we started the panel, I didn't tell you all about my background, but I'll be short and brief. I am a product of two migrant workers, both my parents. My mother had a third grade education, knew no English. My father dropped out of school at 7th grade, went to the Army, got his GED. I was one of a family of 5, I was the second in the family. Loved school, hated to work in the fields. I'll be honest, today I still hate the fields. One thing I enjoyed about my father was that he taught me one brief lesson. He said, son, I'm going to teach you how to work. There's 2 ways to work. And I never knew until he finally told me, he says, there's 2 ways. You can work with your hands, you can work with your mind. And he pounded on me that every day. Well, I knew what it was to work with my hands. And that means working out in the sun. That meant not getting an education. So I said, I ain't going to do this for the rest of my life. No way. The other day, a while back, I was a little bit down. And Monique can vouch for that. We have so many things to do and so many balls up in the air, and you're trying to get everything done, and you're saying, hey, I'm going to give up. So I drove in my car, we rode 45 miles out of town. I live in San Antonio, so I went to Hondo. It's a little farm town. And they were spraying this cotton field with DDT. I whiffed the DDT, and I said, thank God I had this job. And I went home, I was a happy puppy. But that's just to tell you how life can be if you want it to be that way. You got an option. You got choices. You determine your own life. You determine where you want to be. I don't have a high GPA. I'll be the first one to tell you. I didn't graduate in 4 years, but I graduated. I paid my own schooling, and I'm proud of that. I don't know anybody any money. I am where I am today because I proved myself every day. I am what I am because I'm the best at what I am. I know what I can do. I know what I can't do. I know my limitations. I can sell an Eskimo refrigerator in midwinter because I'm good. I was never a salesman, never thought I was a salesman. But I'll tell you, anyone that I have talked to, I can help. One thing I've done is, this session today, when we were thinking about doing this, I saw this about 2 years ago. In the thinking process and the planning stages, I said, this would do well for the Pan American students. It would do well to see this, the panel discussion, the different modules, the workshops. And I get kind of soft-throated about this, but I look back and I'm saying, what can I do to go back to my own people? I don't live here. I lived in San Antonio 16 years, but my roots are here. I have family down here. But you have to make a commitment. Everything you do today, that you learn today, you learn tomorrow. You learn it well. Do it well. But it doesn't do any good if you're the only one that's going to keep it. You have to pass it on and share it. It's like throwing a pebble in a lake. The ripple effect is important. You are the foundation of what is about to come, of a bigger thing. And I'm here to be proud and let you all know that I'm proud of you all. And I know you can do it, because I did it. The 6 people next to me did it also. Sacrifice, dedication. Proving the system you are important. You are a number, but you can do it. That's just what we're all about. You determine your own destiny. We don't. But we're here to prove it. We left the valley. We're successful. We're happy. And we're here. That's what the panel is about. We're going to open it up for questions and answers. Anyone you want to direct in particular, you're welcome to ask them. And we're here for a few minutes afterwards to talk with each and every one.
I just want to say something. I'm personally proud of all of you. Thanks for coming back and talking to us. I just want to stand there.
Yes.
I've got another question now.
Sure.
Some of us have been here for 4 or 5 years. Looks like you're never going to get out. And you ought to give us a lot of hope that we will get out of here sooner or later. And most of the people in this room are seniors. And believe it or not, you make an impact on freshmen and the lower level classes. Y'all made a big impact on us today. And we want to pass that on to the rest of our fellow classmates. Thanks.
And if there's any more questions, I have a laundry list. And I'm known for laundry lists. And the reason I say Monique is Monique and I are co-workers. And I also happen to be from Mission, which is a very famous town now. And I'll leave it at that. But here are some interesting words which are directed to you, whether you know about these words or not, which will become very invaluable in the near future. There's places and resources that you will need to look these out. It's like going through a scavenger hunt. If you know these words, they'll be beneficial, and they're going to help you. Goals, long and short term. Role model, mentoring, knowing the system, perseverance, networking, relocation, promotion, opportunity, price for success, sacrifice. Third language, leadership, internship, co-op. When you learn what these words are, you will find out you will be very, very successful. Trust me. I will not give you the answers. You will need to seek them out yourself. I'll give you a clue. The library, the placement office. I close now.
I just want to say one other thing that Linda talked about, being able to determine destiny. I got a fortune cookie the other day that was pretty stimulating, I thought. It said choice, not chance, determines destiny. And that's exactly what all this is about. And you all have all of that control in your hands. When you're in the library looking up these words, look for resources that are going to help you with interviewing skills, with preparing resumes, with dressing for success, you know, all of these things that anybody would want to talk days and days about. There are so many things out there. There's so many resources that you can find to help you with that. There's so many people that you can talk to that have gone through it before. People love to talk. Let me tell you that. People love to talk. They want to tell you about their experiences. People are great resources. Use these resources. It will be to your advantage.
On that, I think two of the most important parts of both looking for a job and finding one is people networking and then mentoring. Finding that somebody that can help you. In the university, the professors, they're not only there to teach. If you'd be surprised some of the things you can learn from these professors. And a lot of them, they really aren't that difficult to approach. I know in the business building, they're there to help you, and they're more than willing to sit down and share their experiences as far as what they've seen, because they will have known past students that have gone and graduated and come back and what have you, and they can sometimes offer invaluable advice. And then upon getting your job, they told me a long time ago, find the oldest person in the corner and make him your friend. And you don't have to necessarily go to the oldest person, but when you go to somebody that's been there a long time, you'd be surprised what you can learn. And if you keep that and you apply it on the other things that you do, you'll find that you'll be able to advance further and learn from other people and meet other people that will be able to help you in other areas, not only that particular work, but in all aspects of your life.
I just wanted to focus on the resources, and for your job interviews, remember that your first impression is all they have, plus your grades, of course, and everything, but they want to know how you're able to interact with people. I mean, they can see your grades right in front of, they've got them on the table, they've got your grades available, but your first impression is very important. Be prepared. Use your resources to get prepared for those interviews. Interact with them, talk to them, show them that you're not only do I have good grades, but I'm sociable. I'm able to interact with other people. So just remember that, because it's really important.
I'd just like to say that there's a lot of opportunities outside of the Valley, and sometimes it's really a big scary step if you've never been other than Mission, Texas, and that's it. But there's opportunities outside of the Valley, and I think that it's wonderful if you have that chance to go. And if you ever want to come back, which I plan to, I can learn so much more from other places and then come back and help my own community.
Well, in closing, and I think I mentioned that earlier, we got some basic skills here that we need to master, and that's writing skills, communication skills, mathematical skills. Those are your basics that I think that are very, very essential. And as has been said before, time and time and again, networking and seeking out the opportunities. Opportunities do not come to you. You have to go out and seek those opportunities. And don't forget that if at first you don't succeed, try again. I've had many failures before I got where I am today. And sometimes that may be very discouraging. But, it's like the saying goes, winners never quit and quitters never win. And it's a situation where you're always having to strive constantly to be better and to do better. But you got to have a foundation, and that foundation are those basic skills. Once you can master, or at least train yourself in those basic skills, the rest should come natural. But you have to go out and seek them. and I encourage all of you here today, consider government as a possible career. The federal government is a very unique place to work. We've talked about alternative work schedules here today. We offer that. Daycare centers for our employees, we already have those in the various parts of the metroplexes in this country. So there's a lot of programs within the federal government besides the salaries that might be attractive for you and your future family. So consider that. And as I mentioned, we do have a co-op program. We have a scholar program. We come always to Pan American and other major institutions of higher learning to recruit. I think that you will like what we have to offer once you explore those avenues when you have time. Thank you.
How do you follow all that? I mean, what more can be said? I guess we'll just repeat what I said earlier, hard work. There's no secret to success. You know, it's all a matter of how much you're willing to give and how much you want out of life. Any of us can be a success at anything we want, just whether you have it in you to give. All I can say is don't take anything too seriously. You know, we said here today, life should be a lot of fun. You should enjoy yourself, but I promise you, you won't enjoy yourself anywhere near as much if you're disappointed in your own performance. My son will remember a saying that my wife had on the bulletin board and on our kitchen for a long, long time, but it said the reward of a job well done is to have done it. So, just do like Nike says, just do it.
Any more questions? Not, thank you. And we'll be here available for one-on-one at your convenience.
And recruiting.
Well, if we